Well, here with us to talk a little bit more about supper clubs and how lucky we are to have them in Wisconsin, a little bit of the history, which is so interesting, is Kyle Sherrick. He is the host of Wisconsin Foodie. He is the Wisconsin Foodie, travels all over Wisconsin, and I'm sure, first of all, good to see you.
Nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And I'm sure you've eaten at many a Wisconsin supper club.
By default and proxy and just growing up here, absolutely. Yeah.
I have to be honest, you know, I never heard of a supper club until I moved to Wisconsin in college, and now I am absolutely in love with them. It is my kind of place. Forget those chain restaurants. It's all about the Wisconsin supper clubs.
It's an American invention and distinctly a Wisconsin invention. A lot of people know that the first supper club was created in Beverly Hills, but by a Wisconsinite, Lawrence Frank. And he literally took it there in the 30s, and it was a massive hit. And then they grew, you know, en masse throughout. Mostly they're indigenous to the Midwest. But post-World War II, with all the GIs coming back and the burgeoning middle class and the freeway system, they were designed as these really unique themed structures that you could see from the roadside, even before the freeway system, with Eisenhower putting that in, that had this distinctive feel. And it was a crib on the country club, which you had to have money and connections and this sort of thing, but it was basically a high-class experience at an affordable price. And you would have cocktails that began at 3 in the afternoon and hors d'oeuvres and the relish tray, and you'd go in and there'd be this smorgasbord, these huge salad bars, and there'd be so many different varieties of cuisine that you could order from and different courses, and then there would always be entertainment. And there was almost always a theme to these supper clubs. The Turks way up in Minocqua is one famous one. There's the Pyramid one. There's the Gobbler on the way to Madison. He was a devotee of Frank Lloyd Wright, and there are some quasi-Wrightian genes in that building, but its whole theme was around a turkey. I mean, you know, these were, in some ways, the huge mega Vegas hotels owe a huge debt to the Midwest supper clubs.
That is very cool because I was talking to Kyle a little bit about, I don't know if you know how lucky we are to be able to go to these supper clubs, experience the wonderfulness, and experience the great price, because I'm telling you, if you go to, like you say, you see these celebrities eating at these steakhouses, which are like Wisconsin, you know, they're modeled after just more, they're more fancy, but they're outrageously expensive, and we can go right here and, you know, get in and out of there, dinner for two under $50.
There's a great little secret about the supper club. So Lawrence Frank, the first guy who started the supper club in Beverly Hills, his children, basically, his family started the first Lowry's Steakhouse and still own it in Chicago. So there's a direct descendant to the steakhouse, and Chicago and so on and so forth, and the American Steakhouse came out of the supper club experience.
Love the fact that they park you at the bar right when you get there. I mean, you can't just go get a table. And you make friends with the people that you're hanging out with, you know. I mean, I've never seen them do that anywhere else.
Right. It's an amazing American and Midwestern food trend, and now it's translated through generation after generation of diners and chefs. They've caught on in Europe, specifically in the UK, where they call them guest-restaurants. And it has kind of a 30s, 40s cabaret feel. And then the more sort of farm-to-table, Escoffier table, what am I trying to say, dinner party in your house, where it's private and friends, or maybe there's an email list and that kind of thing, has caught on the coast and here in the Midwest. But it's the supper club experience where they'll either have a guest speaker or a little entertainment, but you'll be in somebody's dining room, and an amazing chef will have come from a restaurant that you couldn't get a reservation at for 6 months. And, yeah, it's just, I love how food trends sort of reinvent themselves over and over again.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, when people come from out of town and they've experienced a supper club, the first thing they'll say to me is, can we go to a supper club? You know, if they know it, you know, from the fish fry.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorites? Who has a great, you know,
Well, a really, really, really amazing fish fry. No question. Let me think. Who just, well, I know, Sister Bay Bowl, or excuse me, not Sister Bay Bowl, but CC's Supper Club in Door County.
Okay.
Their fish fry, in my opinion, is unparalleled. And I think part of it is just because it's, you know, family pride, and they've been doing it for since before World War II. I mean, it's an institution. And certain things, you know, we don't let our old churches crumble. We don't let our supper clubs go by the wayside. As long as they're in a town where people can make it more than 3-4 times a week, we preserve them.
Absolutely. I mean, supper clubs are such a part of our history. Support those, and I think I might be going tonight.
I'm with you.
Thanks so much. Great to see you, and it's fun to learn about the history of them.
I love being here. Have me anytime.
Absolutely.
Thanks.